Welcome back to the weekend show. Joining us right now are Honorable Ehiozuwa Agbonayinma and we have Douglas Bayo-Saye. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us in today's program. Agbonayinma. See me with my complicated last name. I always find it difficult to pronounce others. So before this segment of the show, in our lifestyle segment, we talked briefly about why millennials don't want to get married. Our phone lines are buzzing with people wanting to react to this. Again, the number is 080-705-19904. So I want to get both your reactions. You're both almost at the marriage door. You're knocking on it.
Not both almost. I'm
you are already there, according to Deji.
We should be asking you how many.
Abba, come on now. You want to put me in trouble. My wife is watching. I'll report it to my wife.
So what are your reactions to that? Why do you think millennials are finding it difficult to approach marriage these days?
Well, the society is changing. The generation, our generation now, especially the younger ones, some of them are looking for already made, what I would call it, man that is already there, settled down, got everything, so nobody want to work to be a part of success, working towards success. Everybody want to be on the fast lane. Nobody know how people got to have their wealth, their property, their home, their cars. Let me just think that you can just acquire all that within a year. No, it takes time to build. So relationship is not something you just jump into. It's the higher institution, marriage. Nobody go to school to learn how to be a good wife, a good husband. It's a school for thought, the everyday school. You learn from each other, you accommodate each other, you communicate. That's part of it. How can you live your home to another home, different training, at the end of the day, you think that you are not going to offend each other. So guess what? It's bound to happen, but the ability to put God first and one with God and be prayerful, because the family that pray together, stay together. So yes, some girls are, even some of them are very hardworking. I'm not saying these days, what men can do, even women can do much more better. So, and some men also are looking for already made women. Yes. So it's both ways. So
I see.
I don't want to be partisan.
Exactly. I hear we have a call. We have a caller from Port Harcourt. Let's take that. Okay. Hello?
Yeah, hello. Good morning, madam.
Good morning. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Yeah, Mondo Bemi is my name. I'm calling from Focado Stamina, Warri, Delta State.
Warri, Delta State. Okay, what's your reaction to the topic?
Yes, I want to make a little contribution concerning the issue of why women do not really want to get married.
Okay.
I think it borders on the fact that moral values, lack of the fear of God, are some of the reasons why people see marriage from different angles and different views. But I know if everybody sticks to the biblical injunction, because I speak as a Christian, the biblical injunction, principles, and laid down rules set by God, marriage is one of the best things that will happen to anybody, whether male or female. So if people, mostly our youngest, if they really don't want to get married, it's because many of them, they've not taken that time to understand that marriage is an institution. It's a school that you go into. There is no graduation. It's a lifetime covenant that once you are in, there is no way of going out. That is why in the scripture, God did not advocate divorce. It is man that brought about divorce.
Interesting thoughts. Thank you so much for calling in and sharing your thoughts with us. So I think we should delve into politics now. Very interesting lifestyle topic. Keep your tweets and your comments coming in at Weekend Show.
But he would have been able to throw him on live because he's single now. He's not married yet, so we need to find out. So we don't know what's the reason.
Why are you setting me up now?
No, I'm not setting you up, but I think
I believe in our society, I think most times the change of God, most of our parents never really coach us about relationship. Most times, in the typical Nigerian society, everybody just waits for you to get to a certain age before they start asking you, who is the boy, who is the woman. But in the right sense, I believe the parents ought to be discussing relationship issues with their children, asking them what is really happening with their relationship status, because you don't just wake up one morning and start asking your child, maybe when the child is 30, your daughter is 30, where is the man in the house? So that's part of a Nigerian problem. Then secondly, I believe a lot of youths are really career driven these days. Most people want to accomplish some level of success before they delve into marriage, and that's why they feel. And when they get
because of the economy,
that could be a factor pressure. Anyway. But the times have changed. These are not the times where people go into marriage to be leeching on the other partner or parasites. People just want to have some level of independence before they go into marriage. That's why a lot of millennials are not really getting married on time.
Particularly for women, you know, because the caller said something about good Christian women, you wouldn't want to not get married, because I don't really buy into that. I believe that women, we understand, especially millennial women, we understand that we cannot have it all at the same time. You can't be a great mother, a great career woman, a successful career woman, all at the same time. Your successes, either in marriage or in your professional life, happen at incremental stages. So right now I might be thriving in my career, and tomorrow I might put that in the back seat and say, okay, I want to thrive in being a wife. Next, I want to thrive in being a mother. So I think we are aware that we cannot have all these successes at the same time. But moving on to politics, because we can talk about this issue for the entire 2 hours. The topic today is GodFatherism, the impact of GodFatherism in the political sphere. Douglas, you ran for public office and you lost out. Do you believe that was because you didn't have a godfather?
Well, I won't really say so. I believe politics have been hugely monetized. And when you try to convince people that you're coming in with intellectual capacity, you have ideas for the office, people will always, the first thing they will ask you is, what do you have? Because elections are not cheap. All the stages of elections, from your consultation level, before you start declaring for public office, officially declaring for public office, you have to meet some certain people. These people are the ones that will guide. They will guide your political path. You ask questions about your suitability and whether you can really run for that office. Well, you could say it's godfatherism anyway, but I see it from the fact that our politics have been hugely monetized, and it becomes very difficult for young people who believe that they have just the intellectual capacity to get into political office, especially if you are going through the big parties. Yeah, we know the big parties in Nigeria. You could just go for the sake of being popular. You could go with any other party, but when you want to really contest an election, you look at the political parties that have political structures, because you need people who will defend your vote from the ward level to the state level. You won't just run into a party and you say you want to be the flag bearer.
But these political parties have almost made it mandatory for you to have a godfather. A young man like yourself, for example, we see the forms in the APC and in the PDP. Astronomical figures. I mean, presidency was, I believe,
44 million.
44 million. For the House of Rep, which you were vying for, how much was the form for the PDP?
It was like 3.5 million.
3.5 million. Where are you going to get that money for in an investment you are not sure is going to, yield any return? So it makes godfatherism almost. I see you laughing on her.
I know it's coming to me. That's why
I want to come to you. Honorable, you are from Edo State.
Yes.
And I believe that.
I thought you are partly Edo. Are you?
No. I'm from Kogi. I'm just your next door neighbor.
Oh, okay.
And I believe that the national chairman, APC national chairman, should be your godfather. And if I'm not mistaken, Honorable, I believe that you will be able to share.
How do you know that is my godfather?
No, it's just a natural thing, and godfatherism is not something that is alien to even business. Because, for instance, there is no business venture you want to do in life. If you want to go into real estate, someone is already doing it. If you want to be a Dangote is already there. So you can go to these people for guidance. So, you know, I would like you to shed more light on
Well, like talking about Comrade Adams, our national chairman, being my godfather, like you said, don't forget that I worked for him at the time.
Yes.
And I learned a lot from him.
Yes.
I see him as a mentor,
Yes.
you know. But let me tell you about the issue of this godfatherism. You also have, when you're talking about godfather, you also have godmother. So people don't talk about godmother anymore. They only talk about godfather. You know, we all went to school. Yeah. I had godfather. Yeah. When I was, you know, in school, I was in body house. Yes, yes. So those days, you know, if you don't have, you know, godfather, they would discipline you, give you a what we call V portion. Yes. No, but I don't know if you know what is called V portion in school. So that they have to give you V portion. It never ends. Yes. You have to clear grass with your bear, you know, with cutlass. So, and some of the godfathers, you know, various guys then from our student, so they'll say, okay, don't worry, you know, I'll go and talk to the leader, the senior prefect to help you. You know, the godfather is always there to kind of mentor you, to guide you in the right path, not negatively. But it just now, in the political setting, we tend to try to talk about godfatherism as something that is against the will.
But haven't you seen the negative impact of godfatherism in politics? So, for example, I just gave the fact that young people are systematically skewed out of the electoral process because of this godfatherism. You almost have to have a godfather in order to succeed.
Almost everyone running for office is handpicked by somebody. And there's no
well, it all depends, you know, the place, the state you are talking about, you know, like in our state. I'm going to tell you the truth, you know. Yes, it's not perfect, but if you can't, I think I'll give Edo State a pass mark, you know, where people go into the field to contest, and if you are able to, you know, get the people's mandate, you know, hey, you are free to get the position. So, but that notwithstanding, don't forget that politics costs money.
Yeah, of course, all over the world.
It costs all over the world. Because I live in America for almost 30 years. You know, of course, you live in London, in Great Britain. Is it cheap?
No, it's not.
People raise fund, you know, do fundraising just to contest, and if you raise 100 million, guess what? 99.9% of that money goes into, you know, publicity. Yes. Publicity. Yes. Sometimes just to air your one minute in advert, it costs a lot of money.
Yes. Yes.
So, but unfortunately here, it's a different ball game. Yes. So people raise money.
Before I give you guys the opportunity, we have a call from Port Harcourt before we lose that. Again, the phone line is 080-705-19904. Let's hear it.
Hello.
Hello, are you there?
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Chuba Erike.
Hello, Chuba. What's your reaction to this?
So my reaction is on this godfatherism.
Yes.
Godfatherism, like my honorable was saying, that Adam Shimole was his mentor. Now, I cast back my mind when Ndige was governor in Anambra State. He had a godfather. And by name Chris, they call him a fellow. Now, when he got to the post as a governor, what the godfather did was to dictate to him that he had people behind him and he must increase the commissionership, finance, town planning, and so on and so forth. But when the governor was going on, I now discovered that these people that his godfather sent to him, they are not qualified. You know, they are not technocrats that can take the state forward. And they can have a blueprint for the state. But because of this godfatherism, he could not perform at the stage. He was put out.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chuba, for sharing your thoughts. So you basically heard what Mr. Chuba had to say. Godfatherism,
influence.
Exactly.
Godfather, for instance, in that state, could not allow the governor to perform.
It stifles development. It stifles
Godfatherism
productivity.
Could be negative and also be positive. You have to look at it from different perspectives. You don't just narrow it to one, you know, area. Maybe the negativity, you know, of it. No. There are also some values that you can gain. Like Godfather, like I told you before, right from secondary school, I had Godfather, always ask me to go to, to study, during the, prep time.
So what are the positive influence of your godfather right now?
Oh.
Maybe because you have a ticket to run again?
Very funny.
Let
me just tell you this. It's not about having a ticket to run again. That is voice, but I have a lot of people that I see as godfather to me. Not just only one person. Your father, the Chief Esama, is also a godfather to me. Are you with me? So there are many. I would say like there are some people that even they are not old enough to be my father.
Yes.
I can call them godfather
because
they always advise me, to do well and to do things right, and the advice they are giving me is, my father is no longer here. They give me advice that I think that can bring an added value.
But what influence do they have on your productivity? So, for example, you're a member of the House of Representatives. If you are going to propose a bill and your godfather calls you, don't do that. So this is not in favor of my personal interest.
Or our interest.
Of our interest. So would you say, okay, I'm just going to...
I have to be able to throw in more, superior argument, because if I'm sponsoring a bill or moving a motion, he knows. He's at the National Assembly. He understands, how things work. But I would tell you, if it's going to reflect the interest of Nigerians, so why should I?
But your godfather is the person who put you there.
No,
so therefore
hold on.
Determine.
Godfather, it doesn't mean, because if he not tells you to go and put your hand in fire, will you put your hand in fire?
If that's what it takes.
If he's telling you to do something and you think that is the wrong thing to do, you also have to explain to him, not try to be argumentative, but to be submissive and having a positive argument. Go ahead, my brother.
Over to you. The issue of Lagos State easily comes to mind.
Okay.
The issue of the Jagaban and his boy, who lost favor, and now because he lost favor and they told him not to recontest, he recontested, and you saw what happened. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, firstly, I believe the Southwest have a pattern. Their politics have a pattern. It usually revolves around a mentor and a leader. If you look back at the Second Republic, when the UPN, Unity Party of Nigeria, which was led by Obafemi Awolowo, most of the Southwest states were governed by the UPN. You had Lateef Jakonde in Lagos, you had Olabisi Onebanjo in Ogun, you had Michael Ajasi in Ondo, you had Bola Ige in Oyo State, and even in our own Benin State, you had Professor Ambusali. They all had a pattern. They all worked with the political philosophy of their leader, Obafemi Awolowo. So the Lagos State scenario is something that looks almost like a replica of what was usually happening then, when a political leader decides the political compass of the region. So
what you're invariably saying is, even though that everybody acknowledges, including the Jagaban, that the governor has performed, but because the Godfather says that he cannot go for second term, therefore it is right.
If you noticed, the past two governors after Bola Ahmed Tinubu were not typical politicians. They didn't have their political structure. Babatunde Fashola was an in-house member of the Tinubu's cabinet.
Douglas, let me plead with you to hold that thought. We have another caller on the phone. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Yes, your name and where you're calling from.
Okay, my name is Ken. I'm calling from Port Harcourt.
Okay,
Port
a lot of
Harcourt.
Port Harcourt.
We have a lot of friends from Port Harcourt.
Okay, Ken, please give us your thoughts on this subject matter.
Okay, I want to know what I have to say about. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, what I have to say about this matter is that I don't believe anything like Godfatherism. The only Godfather we have is God in heaven. We can have a mentor, and it's okay, and I'm okay about it. Nothing like Godfatherism. I don't believe in any Godfatherism. The only Godfather we have is God in heaven. But for having to have a mentor, there's nothing wrong about it. People must always learn from experiences. So it's natural that you have a mentor that teach you a way of doing things at a particular point in time. And I think that should be a way of life. Number two, very importantly also, the man on yellow is a politician, a PDP man. He should not.
No, I'm not a PDP man. I'm not. Maybe you are a member of PDP. I'm not.
PDP man, known PDP man. Forget that he's acting as an activist. He is not an activist, but a PDP man. I need to stress this.
What does that have to do with the topic at hand? Thank you so much, Ken, for calling in.
I was
talking about you. He was referring to
okay, you are talking about you.
Yeah.
Are you a PDP man?
I'm not in any
Let me finish my. I believe Ambode was a victim of his own personal drive to bring his independent mindedness on governance in Lagos State. He knows that the political structure that brought him in could only be the structure that could retain him in office. So he went against the political structure. It's left for the people of Lagos State to decide whether they will keep following the APC structure or get somebody new to take over as the next governor of Lagos State.
On that issue, let me tell you something. If you don't know where you are going, where you are coming from, you never know where you are going. And we might blame, Senator Tinubu. No, we shouldn't blame him for anything. Politics is dynamic. If you go across the country, Nigeria, those that help you, when they give you ladder to climb,
go up.
They are always the first casualty. Now, you're talking about Senator Ahmed Tinubu. There are other leaders in Lagos who are aggrieved. So we don't know what is happening in Lagos State.
But
hold on. I didn't interrupt you when you were talking. So when you look at what is happening, you look at what is happening in Lagos. You have to really investigate. Because we might be seeing what we are seeing on television. Those are not politics. That is what is happening exactly in Lagos. Is to go down to find out what are the problems.
The national leader made a very interesting comment.
Yes.
He said he believes the incumbent governor has performed. Therefore, if he believes the incumbent governor has performed, why then oppose or
Emergence.
Okay, now when you say he has performed, to an extent, maybe he did. Or, he might just be a statement for thought that because he doesn't want to bring, anarchy or maybe,
can you see how
statement that probably would be derogatory.
Can you see how this buttresses Chuba's point, the second to the last caller who called in, that Godfatherism stifles development. It stifles the productivity
because for instance,
of the governors of these
Lagos State, if you are talking about that, Senator Ahmed Tinubu, our national leader, when he was governor, he performed. Fashola performed. He said Ambode is performing. Okay? But don't forget, there are people, they are electorate, they are also leaders. If you are performing, and your performance, to them, it does not capture the mind of every Lagosian. And at the end of the day, maybe they might not be able to, win the majority of the people of Lagos State. So, do you know what is stomach infrastructure in this country?
It wasn't about Lagosians. It was about the party.
No. Listen. Have you forgotten about? You can have roads with gold, and if people don't have food, they don't have job, they don't have ways and means.
But
people can have car, can't even afford to buy food in their car.
But is Godfatherism about the stomach infrastructure of the people or the stomach infrastructure of the leaders? Because we all know that a godfather, once you support, a certain candidate to emerge successful, you are expecting kickbacks from him or her once they assume that position.
Not all.
Most of them.
Some of them, not all.
But let me since we're wrapping up, I want us to switch gears a little. Douglas, Chief Tony Aneni, an astute politician, one of the founding members of the People's Democratic Party. Mr. Fix-It. I heard he hated being called that name.
Yes, but because the reason why he was being called that name was because at a point, they said there was no problem that was too big for Mr. Fix not to fix. So that name simply became his identity.
Yes. So I want us to, say both of you are from Edo State. So I want you guys to talk about his political legacy, the impact he was able to have in the political landscape, and what you believe he'll be remembered for.
Vis-a-vis Godfatherism.
I believe Chief Tony Adeni was an irresistible nationalist and Democrat. He was somebody who played politics from the local to the national level, and he understood how to pick his team. There's something about politics. When you are going into the political terrain, you must always want managers like football coaches, people who will handle your political victories from the start to the finish line. And in Nigerian politics, there are some certain determinants that make you win elections. You talk about security agencies, you talk about the body language of INEC, the sentiment of voters, and how to calm political foes. I think Chief Aneni had the wisdom to handle all this, and it was a big asset. In 1983, I think he led the MPN to defeat Professor Ambusali in Edo State. In 1992, I think he was the national chairman of the SDP, and he helped Chief MK Abiola secure victory. Although the election was annulled through controversial circumstances. Then in 1999, the Fourth Republic, I think he has been one of the biggest names in our political scape. So for him as a person, I think is like the Fabio Capello of our politics.
Exactly.
He's a very, very strong manager, and I think the commendations and eulogies from all parts of the divide
across party
lines, and even the governor of Edo State as they gave 3 days of mourning, and he even flew down with his cabinet to his house in Abuja to pay condolence. The governor is of the APC stock. It simply tells you how much he was really
The president also issued a statement.
In his regard.
Honorable Ije, you're from the opposing political party. What do you have to say about Chief Tony Aneni?
You know, when you're talking about godfatherism, you know, he was a father to many of us. And put politics aside, you know, because it's not good to talk negatively about the dead. And I tell you the truth that he left a huge legacy in this country. When you have to talk, you cannot write the history of Nigerian politics without Chief Tony Aneni being mentioned. Like my brother have enumerated all his past antecedents, that tells you the man, Chief Tony Aneni. If you really want to know more about him, I think you should go and try and get a copy of his book, My Life. My Life by Chief Tony Aneni. That will give you enormous knowledge how he impacted so many people. But let me say one thing that I respect him for. He's a man that when there are a lot of people contesting for an office, like the normal politician, they will collect money from Mr. John, they will collect money from Andrew, they collect money from Vincent, they will collect money from Jacob, they probably collect money from 10 people. And he will tell that 10 people, oh, you are the one going. Oh, you have been, I knew your mother, we went to school together. Oh, definitely, you are the anointed one. He will tell 10 people. But Chief, he will just tell you, look, I think the other young man is a better candidate. I think, you know, and he will bring his own money to support, not collecting money from any aspirant. That is a fact. He does not collect money from any aspirant. Rather, he will bring his own money to back you up. So for me, I tell you the truth, there's no perfection in humanity. I am not perfect. You know, he was not perfect, but he left a huge footprint and he left a huge legacy. And above all, and I'm so happy that he left a son, Tony Aneni Jr. is another super Chief Tony Aneni here on earth that he left behind. And all his children are very well trained. Tony will be able, I pray that God will give him the wisdom, the knowledge to parallel the affair and to pull the family together for a greater height. I think, you know, I'm proud of the family. They are not family that you see them in police station tomorrow or doing 419. No, these are family that were well nurtured and well brought up. I think may so rest in peace. And the Edo State have lost. They have lost just a big, Iroko, and Nigeria as a whole, in general, I think we will really miss him.
Very well said. Honorable E.J. Douglas, thank you so much for your time. We have a few words, tributes from everyday Nigerians on the streets. We're going to take that before we transition to our sports segment. Take a look. Oh, thank you, thank you.
The best brains usually do not emerge when it comes to election time. The best brains are sidelined because they don't have the so-called godfathers. They don't have people in high places of authority. So that's why so many persons are even not coming forward to contest elections. So to me, I feel godfatherism has a negative impact, a very negative one, in Nigerian politics.
There's an adage that says, he that pays the piper dictates the tune. Even the unqualified people will be sponsored by these godfathers, and they put them in power, they spend their money. So they have turned the politics to business. It has become venture in Nigeria, to the point that when these people come to power, they under-delivered. Why? Because they have to obey the order of the fathers that brought them to power. And as a result of this, it has caused a lot of negative impact.
Impact of godfatherism in Nigeria is well known to all Nigerians that among the big diseases we have that kill Nigeria as a nation is this issue, godfatherism. Because in Nigeria, you cannot go anywhere, you cannot do anything if you don't have somebody. The yardstick now, the scale, is not based on merit, it's who you know or who know you. Because if you don't have somebody, you cannot be anyone, you cannot do anything. Doesn't matter your skills, doesn't matter your knowledge, doesn't matter what you have. All what matters is who know you. And this is the big disease that I said is killing this country. Until we keep that aside, I don't think we are going nowhere.
Yeah, the impact of godfatherism is actually, it's a whole range of, a lot of politicians coming together in terms of and affecting change in the sector of politics. Now, the truth is that most of this godfatherism is just more or less like a manipulation. Okay, they manipulate, politics when it comes to elections and all that. And actually, it's taking a wrong toll when it comes to Nigeria's politics. Godfatherism is supposed to be in such a way that it's supposed to guide those young politicians coming up so that at the end of the day, they take the right decisions, make the right votes. But here in Nigeria, the truth is that it's all been messed up, and it's basically mostly for selfish reasons.